Yom Kippur attack. A knife-wielding terrorist drove into a crowd outside a synagogue in England before stabbing worshippers, killing 2 and injuring more. I've got the latest on the investigation. Plus, a 17-year-old is being accused of fatally mowing down 2 teenage girls with his Jeep. Locals are calling him a stalker. And ice at the Super Bowl? Nope, not in your commemorative cup. One of President Trump's most loyal advisors says Bad Bunny's halftime performance means immigration enforcement will be heading to the big game. Those stories and more today, Friday, October 3rd. I'm Caitlin Becker, and this is the New York Postcast. Bad Bunny's halftime show at Super Bowl 59 has drawn a lot of fire from the right. It's also apparently drawn ice. The big game this February in Santa Clara, California will have more than just players and fans. ICE agents will be sent to patrol the stadium. Longtime advisor to President Trump, Corey Lewandowski, said Thursday that agents will be present at the Super Bowl after Bad Bunny was named as this year's halftime performer. Now, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago how the Puerto Rican superstar didn't schedule any concerts in the U.S. on his upcoming tour over fears that ICE would show up at the shows and round up potential illegal migrants. Well, now it seems the one show he has coming up on U.S. soil, we'll see that become a reality. Here's Lewandowski on conservative influencer Benny Johnson's podcast.
There is nowhere that you can provide safe haven to people who are in this country illegally, not the Super Bowl and nowhere else. We will find you, we will apprehend you, we will put you in a detention facility, and we will deport you.
An alleged stalker, 17-year-old Vincent Battiloro, is accused of fatally running over 2 teenage girls on their e-bikes in the small town of Cranford, New Jersey. Authorities say the teen recorded a YouTube live stream the day after his attack and came just short of a confession. During the recording, the alleged killer said, quote, "It is an absolute unfortunate situation and there's more to the story you're not getting, but when the time comes, I will explain it in greater detail." Families of the 2 victims, Maria Neotis and Isabella Salas, who are also 17, call their killer a coward of a man who'd planned his attack on Maria for months. She was reportedly the target.
He's been parked out front of her house. Online, in
following
school.
Her.
Yeah.
The school was notified. The police were notified. For 3 months now.
The prevailing theory here is that the stalker was someone Maria dated, and NJ.com is reporting on some texts apparently sent between an ex-boyfriend of Maria's to another teen ahead of the tragedy. In one of them, that ex was told, quote, "The school already told you to stop harassing her." Now, the attacker was in court yesterday, but because he is so far being charged as a juvenile, the hearing wasn't public and everything is sealed. Well, it's day 3 of the government shutdown, and things aren't going well, particularly for Democrats trying to stand up to President Trump and the GOP. House Democrats launched a live stream to rally the party faithful. It was scheduled to begin at 2 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon and run for 24 hours. Congressmen and women took turns just throwing blame at Republicans for this shutdown. And Republicans, in turn, wasted no time tearing apart their political rivals, saying at one point that just 400 people were watching that live stream. Dems actually shut it down less than halfway through the scheduled run. And then there's Democratic firebrand Maxine Waters. The 87-year-old congresswoman was asked about the shutdown on the steps of the Capitol by a reporter for Lindell TV.
But are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
Republicans are calling that saying the quiet part out loud. Remember, healthcare is the biggest sticking point here, the one issue neither side seems to want to budge an inch on. At least 2 people were killed and multiple others injured at a synagogue in Manchester, England, as worshippers gathered for Yom Kippur, the holiest day on the Jewish calendar. 35-year-old Jihad al-Shami, a British citizen of Syrian descent, plowed a car into a group of pedestrians and then went on a stabbing rampage. Police descended on the scene and shot al-Shami. He appeared to be wearing a bomb as a belt as well, though that was later determined to be a fake. Police also confirmed the arrest of 3 others nearby, 2 men in their 30s and a woman in their 60s. The Post's Anthony Blair has been all over this story, and he joins me now. What more has our reporting unearthed about just what happened here?
That's right. So police are still putting together an exact picture of what happened. What we do know is that just after 9:30 a.m. local time, a car drove directly into worshippers outside the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue in Manchester, northwest England. The driver then got out, took out a knife and began attacking worshippers and also trying to gain access to the building. Police arrived several minutes later and shot dead the individual.
This happened at a synagogue on Yom Kippur, but authorities did not call the incident terrorism at first. But now that's changed. So does that distinction impact the investigation going forward?
I think what the key detail to look for now will be whether the UK raises its terror threat level. And what the British authorities have said on Thursday is that this level is under review. And the key factors that will influence whether they raise the threat level in the UK will be whether they can show that this individual who carried out this heinous attack acted alone, whether he was directed by other people, and also whether he was radicalized, and what factors they can track down as to who or what radicalized him.
And that radicalization brings me to my next question. We've seen anti-Semitism on the rise around the globe. So what's the climate like in the UK when it comes to targeting the Jewish community?
Well, we've seen, in the immediate aftermath of this attack, obviously leaders from various faiths, as well as the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the royal family, and multiple officials have come out and immediately condemned this attack, as they should. But what we have heard from Jewish leaders on Thursday, and indeed in the last 2 years, really, is this fear of the increasing threat of some kind of attack. We had the rabbi for a synagogue in Maidenhead in southeast England today, saying in the wake of the attack that this had been his greatest fear for the past 2 years. And, what a lot of Jewish leaders have been saying in the run-up to this attack, and certainly in the wake of it, is that, they feel that a lot of them have been blamed, or the danger or the influence of the conflict in Gaza has essentially bled into the UK, as it has in many other parts of the world. But this is a real fear. And also, what we've seen, which has been so powerful on Thursday, has been pictures of increased police and security presence outside synagogues across the UK and outside Jewish places of worship. And that is something that is certainly welcomed by Jewish leaders, but is also seen as a damning indictment of the state of affairs as we see it.
Of course, and on the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, no less. Anthony Blair, thank you so much. It's Friday, and what could be better than ending the day with a beautifully seared piece of ribeye? Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the price of that perfectly marbled piece of beef is going up again. And don't think you're going to save any money by making burgers or tacos either. Thanks to a drought that prompted a 70-year low in cattle inventory and strong demand, the price of ground beef is up almost 13% compared to last year, and the price of steak more than 16.5% higher over the same period. Well, these beefy inflation figures are much higher than average for all other food categories, which is just over 3%. One Illinois cattle rancher told Fox Business that the drought that happened a few years ago in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and the southeastern U.S. forced ranchers to liquidate, his word, liquidate cows. And now we're paying the price, literally. Using the word liquidate here might be enough to turn me off my dinner, but I guess it would save my wallet. And finally today, happy Taylor Swift Day to all who celebrate. And at this point, who isn't celebrating? Well, maybe Blake Lively. The global superstar released her much-discussed 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl, at midnight last night. And the Swifties, as expected, were out in force. Movie theaters from coast to coast hosted fans at listening parties and premiered the music video for the album's first single, The Fate of Ophelia. And it would not be a Taylor Swift album release if fans weren't trying to figure out who each track is about. Travis Kelce, obviously a low-hanging fruit here, but Swifties think the song titled Actually Romantic is actually a diss track aimed at fellow pop star Charli XCX. For starters, the title nods to Charli's Everything is Romantic, and there's a reference to some drug use, which Charli has been open about. Plus, these two seemed close back in 2018 when Charli opened some shows on Taylor's Reputation tour, but then boys got involved, which possibly drove a wedge between the two. Now, as for the song Ruin the Friendship, it's gotta be about Blake Lively, right? Wrong. You can head over to page 6 and they'll tell you why. A new Taylor Swift album and a nice overpriced steak What a way to end the week. Happy Friday, my friends. I have one easy last thing for you to check off the old to-do list before you head into weekend mode. Like and follow the New York Postcast wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, because we all like to start our days informed, right? Oh, I also have one last update. Diddy gets sentenced later today in federal court, so make sure you check for all the latest on our YouTube channel. I'm going to post all the details there. Have a great weekend.